whenever there is a bumper harvest, the prices go down instead of going up. So we could be advised on that. And of course, I have no intentions of preempting the presenter's ideas. He's an expert in the field, and I hope he will give us all that it takes to access competitive, stable, and good market. And without taking a lot of the presenter's time, I want to call upon the presenter to take up the floor. You're most welcome.
Dear PS, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be here. Mr. Chairman, glad to meet you too. Yeah. Originally, when you had the MC was saying I had come to discuss, because originally I had been invited, PASID, which I'll talk about in the last slide, had been invited to present and I would discuss. But we have changed, so I am here to present. And I contribute, my presentation will contribute to the AGI objectives, objective number 4, which is increase market access and competitiveness of agricultural products in domestic and international markets. But I will also contribute to number 6, objective number 6, which is institutional coordination for improved service delivery. Uganda Export Promotion Board, one of the oldest organizations to be established. I found out it was actually in Uganda and Ghana that an export promotion board was established in 1969. And you know, Ghana was one of the first countries to get their independence. So our founders, our forefathers thought that independence had to move with export promotion. And I think that has not changed. Because if we don't export, we are likely to perish, then we'll be beggars for the rest of our lives. And I don't like begging. Uganda Export Promotion Board was rebranded because it had been established as an Export Promotion Council. It was rebranded to become Export Promotion Board in 1995. It is not one of those organizations established by World Bank. It is established by Ugandans and Parliament for the sake of promoting exports with 4 main objectives, with the overarching mandate of coordinating, of facilitating, of bringing together all export-related activities under the 5 functions: to develop exports, to provide information, to promote exports, to provide customized advisory services, but also to be able to recommend to government policies that might be positive for an exports drive. Under NDP 3, Uganda Export Promotion Board has been given assignments, key result areas under private sector development, agro-industrialization, manufacturing, tourism development, and mineral development. I will not talk about all those key result areas, but when you look at them, they focus on increasing exports, improving household incomes, creating jobs for the youth, improving GDP, and therefore leading Uganda to the middle income status. We have shared this presentation, and I think it will be shared with all the participants. So when you say you want market opportunities, it is important. And I have heard the president very well is talking about the need for why he's involved in regional integration. Because he said we have to find markets for what we produce. We need to produce a lot, but we need to find markets. Uganda is about 45 million, give or less, but what we produce, and if we produce where. And now with the PDM, also parish development model, I tell you, people who are in agriculture know the mortality rates of crops, but with the performance of agriculture under NADS or WC, we think that mortality is around 50%. So I have given it 40 to 50 to 60%. If these products are grown and they mature, where are you going to sell them? You should think about that. This is the performance, and I'm sure we have talked about it. Not good performance. We are having about $5 billion US, but I tell you, Ivory Coast, which used to be a major exporter of coffee, with about a population of 25 million people, in the last 2 years, before 2020, 2019, even 2020, even 2018, they exported for cocoa, which they never used to produce, $4 billion US. And we are growing cocoa, as you know. So if we do well on cocoa and we are more able, we can even get $4 billion from cocoa alone. Projections, if nothing else changes, I have looked at the projection, I have looked at annual growth, and then made the average. My brother, whom I can call Segawa, but you can call him PS, you can call him the secretary, we grew together and studied together at the university, knows the averages, he's an economist like me. So I have done the averages and found out by 2026-27, coffee alone, without any interruption, would bring us 1.7 billion US. And I will discuss cocoa, because I think cocoa are not doing well, it can also equally bring the same amount of money. And then these all other products can increase. But I know efforts under agriculture for coffee, that there are more seedlings being distributed, and therefore we can go beyond this. I am so happy that we performed very well in the previous year, financial year, at around 800 million US dollars, close to $1 billion. A financial year, they say 780. So for coffee alone. So agriculture has the capacity, especially if we add value, to boost this economy. Dr. Fred Muhumuza, who is a well-known economist, who used to be an advisor to the Minister of Finance for a long time, quite a period of time, he says agriculture will still be with us even 100 years, whether we like it or not. So let's do not agriculture, but let's do agri-industry. Let's add value to these products, and we'll be very fine. Where are Uganda's markets? Our markets are in those places you can see on the screen. One of the markets is Belgium. Another one, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Kenya. Look at our market in Kenya. That's why when I hear the president always talking about regional integration, I am excited about it. I am one of the people who have been in the exports arena for more than 15 years. The other one is Noreen Baribari, whom I have come with, and I'm sharing jointly this presentation. The rest are flukers, the rest are newcomers. We have been this advocacy and lobbying for exports for this period. What has been lacking is political will. If you put in political will, you'll make it from exporting by our own markets. Look at DR Congo. We are importing formally 450 million and importing informally 292, call it 300 million. So to DR Congo, we are already exporting known 700 million US dollars. But informally, we can, informal trade is difficult to capture. My rudimentary estimates tell me that we export more than 1.3 billion US dollars to DR Congo. So when we formalize, when we integrate, DR Congo can be a market for 3 billion by just removing trade barriers which were because they were not members of the EAC. So those are market opportunities. When you look at a product like coffee, what are their particular markets? Italy, how much are we contributing? 10%. Germany, how much are we contributing? Only 2.6%. If you go to the tea, you look at the figures, the Kenyan surprises me. I'm not sure that we are supplying that, but you see, when you take your products Kenya, they become, it is an auction market. So because they become an auction market, at times they regard Ugandan products as their own products, and so it's difficult to capture. So, but these three examples, fish and fish products, is to show you that we have the potential to produce quality and quantity, and we have the markets. Fish, we don't feed fish. We only need to do enforcement, and we get a lot of fish. We don't kill mothers, we get a lot of fish. That one I don't want to look at. That's for the file. You'll find it in your pigeonholes, so you can look at it. More opportunities, low-hanging fruits. You know, it's democracy. I don't like football and soccer because they are all emotional. I left it to my brother. But one time I'm told, somebody said, you will find your constitution in your pigeonholes. So that's where I've borrowed it from. I am more interested in marketing, international marketing and economics of low-hanging fruits. We can produce a lot of low-hanging fruits and make money in 3 months. We are doing it, but we can do more. Chilies, you saw in the script, that the skit we watched. We have white garden eggs. We have many products. We have okra dudi, which makes food slimy and people like it. These we can grow in only 2-3 months. And as the lady was talking of, they needed to also target the off-season, the winter season, and we penetrate with a lot of products to European market is important. What happened to soybean? When I was a young man, we used to grow soybean. What happened? The Chinese want soybean. They are importing it from America and other places. And that's why they cannot go to war, because you cannot shoot your consumers, neither can you shoot your buyers. Soybean is so important for here, for our diet, but it is also important for the market, and people want it. Noreen gets inquiries every day about soybean. What happened to soybean? Sesame seed. Dubai has a market of $680 million US dollars for sesame seed. But if we see what we produce, that I have removed it from the presentation because the figures are less than 50 million, and to me, anything less than 50 million of exports, I don't want to cover it. It is a figure that I cannot discuss in public. There are other things that we can look at. We will look at them again in your pigeonhole. What has UEPB done? Given that exports are so important, and given that we need them, UEPB has contributed a little, given knowing that Uganda is a developing country, and there has always been a budgetary problem. At one time, we were being given, I think, 800 million in total, including to pay the workers and pay rent. But we have tried to do a few things that we could do. One of them is export readiness. We are assessing companies and looking at their readiness and advising them, building their capacity. For those who cannot build your capacity, we'll tell you where you can get your capacities built. We are doing this, we'll continue to do that. Seal of approval. Uganda Export Promotion Board, from time to time, even from some of you, I see you coming to us saying, we want a letter because my exporter wants it. You remember Uganda removed export, what we call export license, trading, that kind of, and exports are zero rated. But people still want a letter from an export promotion board as a seal of approval. In economics, we call it imprimatur. Imprimatur is a seal of approval. That we want a government agency called Export Promotion Board to give us a letter because the buyer wants it. Because the buyer wants a seal of approval. Because government is here to provide the seal of approval, and also to govern us well, isn't it? You were chairman, eh? To govern us well. Then national exports awareness campaigns. We have engaged in national exports awareness campaigns. Every year we have an export week, which we publicize. But like I said, given our financial resources, which are very meager, so meager, we can do little. But we have gone to different districts, but also every year we have Exports Awareness Week, in which we have business clinics, export business clinics, annual conference, and we have our ministers and our technical people, especially agriculture. We are working very well with the Minister of Agriculture, very well. I almost know all the technical people of the Minister of Agriculture because we are working very well. Agriculture requires that if you want to export, before you export, you come with a letter from Export Promotion Board that you have really gone through export readiness assessment, and is important. Commercial diplomacy. We realize, because of being a developing country, Uganda doesn't have, in most embassies, commercial officers or economic attachés or whatever you call them. But they have other officers whose training is different. It could be security, it could be public diplomacy. So we are training them to become commercial diplomats because they are already government employees and based in those missions. So we have been training them. COVID affected us, but we continued online. We have been using Zoom and training them, and this will continue. But as you have heard, we are linking producers, like I said. That gentleman you saw of Export Promotion Board was me. I was saying we are linking producers and exporters together via producer associations because it is the cheaper way to do it. It is impossible that we are going to be linking one exporter with another because we can't afford it. We are a developing country. That's why we need the middle income status so that we can be better. Compliance. Working with MAIFA and UNBS, we are trying to make sure that producers and aggregators and later on exporters comply with the standards. We are linking producers to, and exporters to supermarkets. As I talk now, soon in Kajansi there will be established a collection center by a supermarket, a chain of supermarkets called Lulu. Lulu has got over 275 stores in the GCC countries. They will be buying fruits and vegetables, they will be buying fish, but now they have also gone into beef and dairy products. My sister, the moon we will have to rose, we have to think about the foot and mouth disease because even Algeria wants our milk, but those are the challenges. Promotion of agriculture and agro-processing, we have done that in different places, in trade fairs, in expositions, the limit, whenever we have the capacity. What are the issues we need to address to increase exports? One, we need production which is market-led. Our production is not market-led. Sometimes exporters are buying products of farmers or producers who originally did not produce for the export market. They originally produced for a market which even they didn't know. So we need to work on market-led agriculture. We need to do that. People must know, the word is must know, that they are producing for the market. The donors who are here, we don't want to be beggars forever. Donors give us money to create a mindset change, to help people produce for the market. And some of the market will be your market. When I was studying why we give aid, one of the reasons we give aid is to create markets for the donors. But also we want some market also for the donors who give us the money. Compliance and conformity to standards. Minister of Agriculture is doing a lot, given the financial constraints. We need to keep doing this, because once we do comply, our products are quality. It is not that they are not quality, they are quality, but the challenge is sometimes we don't know, we don't comply, we are running for money so we can spray the pesticides, herbicides when it is too late, and this. But this can be addressed, and it should be addressed. And there are efforts to change the laws that need to change. Lack of coordination at government. I have used the English word of saying at government, and I have not used in government. Lack of coordination at government, let's coordinate. Going forward, if we have to be market-led, if we are going to get the results of parish development model, we just need coordination. Once we coordinate very well, and we regularly meet an interface, and we are intentional about it, exports are going to increase. Political will is emerging. We need political will. In some countries, exports and industrialization are put at security level because every country minds their security. And that will come with financing, but that will come also with the mindset. At cabinet level, we want people to know that exports matter. I just want to give an example, and I'm not here forever. If you are saying you want exports, and you are saying at cabinet level that you don't want an organization called Export Promotion Board, then the language, you put your money where your mouth is, isn't it? Export financing is important. We need export finance because exporting is different from importing. Casita, people can go and pick their goods and bring them and sell them and make money and go back, but exporting becomes a commitment. Exporting becomes a vocation. Exporting becomes a lifelong business, and you need support. We need affordable export credit. I want to mention that the president has already accepted that an export credit, an export finance scheme should be established. So we should be looking at it soon, because then it will help our people, because they are doing us a lot of good by bringing money, foreign exchange. Otherwise, you will beg for foreign exchange. And the one you beg for, the donors will say, sign here, sign there, sign here, sign there. And at times you can sign and you don't understand what you signed for. UEPB is rebranding. It was about to be completely taken away and deleted. But through the wisdom of cabinet and the president, we thank him, have realized that we need an export promotion board as you develop. When you have developed, you can have even every district having its own export development arrangement. But when they are not developed, countries have export promotion boards. And I know this was an argument of donors as well, because where they come from, they started developing in 1870 or 1776 when Adam Smith wrote the Wealth of Nations. So they have already developed, even every district can promote. So what we call in economics industrial policy. Industrial policy is a requirement. When countries are developing, they need government support. No doubt about it. Japan has done it, Korea has done it, China is doing it, India does it. So for us, Uganda, if we cannot support even our exporters with information, market information, what do we want to do? Ladies and gentlemen, the rest is that we are going to establish in 12 regional centers in Uganda, and we are going to be seeing strong coordination working with MAIF and others, sometimes by way of MOUs, so that we work together. For us, we are talking about exports, but now we will also be analyzing domestic market, because sometimes they say there are markets and then you have nothing to produce, to take there, because products have been consumed domestically. So we should be able to produce for the market, domestic market, and be able also to produce for the export market, because for the export market, we make money. And that is what we want. I believe in money. I don't like poverty. It smells. So you will be seeing us rebranding. I don't like poverty. To be honest with you, I don't like poverty, and I'm not working for free. Even now, I am working to be paid. Even when I'm presenting to you, they should pay my salary. You see? I have a family. You see, we need the money because we have families. We need the money. I have families. I don't want to work for the PS for free. I want to live with my family. I don't want to leave my family as beggars and paupers. For you to do that, you must produce for the market. If you don't produce for the market, your families will have problems. Let me end with this. We have a new kid on the block, the Presidential Advisory Committee. In fact, it is the one they had invited to make a presentation, and my role was to discuss. When they didn't come, they saw me as a dangerous substitute, and they said, could you present? So even when the MC was talking, was saying, he's discussing. So I said, who is the presenter? Then I consulted with my team of Sam and Noreen. He said, no, you are the presenter. And Emmanuel said I was the presenter. So I'm presenting, I'm not discussing, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the last slide. So PASID is a committee under the Senior Presidential Advisor for Special Duties. And because we have advocated and popularized the need for exports and the importance, when he was appointed a special advisor, he realized that there was a need to promote exports. And he realized that maybe government was working in silos. He said, I could, since I report to the president, a senior presidential advisor is at the rank of senior minister, isn't it, in government? I'm just a public servant. So he brought the private government, he brought the private sector, and we had meetings. And then in April, they launched the Presidential Advisors Committee on Exports and Industrial Development called PASID. If you have seen in today's vision, you should have seen Odrek Wabogo appear in 2 articles talking about exports. Don't think he has taken the job of Export Promotion Board. No, we are here. But that is what we call in Uganda, Neagaride, the patriots, Nyekundire, who have come together and said exports and industrialization are important. Can we also play a role? During campaigns, you have the candidate has got his team of what? Of campaigners. But there are those called the Neagaride, Nyekundire, the patriots. They come and all contribute. So what is telling you, ladies and gentlemen, today is that exports are becoming so important that everybody who wants to play a role wants to contribute to the export agenda. And so we ask PASID that they can reach that high office and advocate for the support to what? To the export sector. But also, they have the connections, but the methods we are all using have not been new. Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade, Export Promotion Board, we have been contributing to NDP1, NDP2, now NDP3. In all there, we have been saying we promote exports. The only thing that has been lagging over time, I tell you, was the what? The political will. A lot of political will is required to increase exports and get out of poverty. So let's work together, ladies and gentlemen. MAIF, Export Promotion Board, Ministry of Trade, PASID. I see PASID as an advocacy, as a lobbyist, and they are not implementers because really they are not a mainstream government body. So that's what they are doing. And agriculture, MAIF and the Export Promotion Board and Ministry of Trade will continue doing the implementation. And all these efforts that support us, please welcome them. Let me talk about the perception that some MDAs are not working is not true. Because when you read some newspapers, sometimes you hear PS, sometimes I put it in red. When you hear some people, they say, oh, agriculture is not working. The Minister of Trade is not working. Export Promotion Board is not working. That perception is not true. What is very true is you see the slide on the issues I talked above. Because if you don't support your child and you take them to the good schools, when they don't perform, you don't think the children were silly. Let's make sure we be intentional. Let's support competitiveness. Let's give money to promoting agricultural production, agro-industry, and then we can export. You will not export if you are not intentional. But the role of government cannot be eliminated, not at all. And Gandhi tells you, Gandhi helped India to get independence, isn't it? He said, involve us, let's all work together. Please involve us. Gandhi says, what you do for me without involving me is against me. And then I read, and I'm ending with this one, I read a book called The Government Inspector, written by a Russian called Nikolai Gogol. He said, don't come incognito. You come when we, come and we work, don't come incognito, I want to see you. So the government should be at the forefront, let them not be hiding. Government should tell the people of Uganda that we want to promote exports and this is what we are doing. And as part of government, I have promised you what we are doing. We are rebranding, opening up 12 regional information centers. We are rebranding, going to do MOU with the radios and the TVs to ensure that we promote exports. Thank you very much.
Oh. Thank you very much. Before you leave the mic, I'm quite sure these participants would wish to feed you more, even after here. And probably I would request that you actually guide them on how they can access you. Because yours is a cross-cutting presentation, and not all of them may get an opportunity of getting you immediately after here. So if you could.
Thank you very much. Let me request my staff to stand. One of them, Noreen, is, I call her Mchara chairman. The man in front of him accidentally, by no means the same arrangement, could stand also Chairman Kamoti, the chairman of Bududa district, is the lovely husband to that lady behind, whom I work with. So leadership is not a pleasure, it is a deep responsibility. So Noreen Baribari Kamoti is here throughout the meeting. Sam Karhanga is here throughout the meeting. And I request that they give you coordinates on how we can link up. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, the presenter has actually given a thorough dissection of the topic. It was clear and loud. I hope you had quite a lot to pick from his presentation. And since we have time for plenary, we can still wait for you to bring your issues, need for clarifications at that time. Otherwise, we thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Moderator. We'll proceed with the next one. Yeah, it will be good to get the next presentation on PDF. All right. So yeah, I'm yet still going to continue with chairing the second presentation, and which is also very critical, and I know it is applying everywhere in the country, and we have this wonderful gentleman who is actually implementing the model. He will introduce himself better and take us through the PDM agro-industrialization process, progress, opportunities, and challenges. Mr. Presenter.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. PS, distinguished participants of this conference, I have a task to focus on PDM in the context of agro-industrialization. And looking at this, I want to look at the contribution PDM is, will, and must make towards agro-industrialization. The focus is looking at its contribution in terms of progress, the opportunities and challenges.
May I beg that you first introduce yourself to the members?
I thought my names are clear out there.
No, they wanted to. Yeah,
I didn't expect visually impaired people, but if they are there, I'm Godfrey Kuruhira Kiki. You had initially got that Mr. Dansan Balaba, Cow Tororo, would be presenting this paper. Dansan Balaba is the chairperson of the Cows of Uganda, and Godfrey Kuruhira Kiki, I'm the Secretary General of the Cows of Uganda.
That one was not there, you know?
So it's the Secretariat of the Cows presenting.
Aye.
It's not a case of one district. I'm therefore coming from the perspective that many people are busy. You know, sometimes when we look at our people in the village, we think they are redundant and they are lazy. No, some people are working very hard but remaining poor. And that is the 38% and so of Ugandans that we are targeting, that they should come out of poverty once we implement the PDM. So we don't want them to be very busy, but not in business. And therefore, if they become busy and in business, we are contributing to just the past presentation which was on, they will also become part of the exporters. For that perspective, parish development model is the last mile strategy for service delivery by government of Uganda, focusing on improving incomes. We believe if incomes improve, households will improve, and the whole quality of life of Ugandans will improve. The other aspect we look at is that it is the extension of the whole government. That's why we are here. And you are saying it is agro-industrialization, cross-cutting, and like somebody said, it was a marriage. True, this marriage must live. Okay? This time, no divorces. We must have this marriage live, and we must see it deliver babies, and the family grows. PDM underlies the spirit of harmonization of government interventions, where both the MDAs at this level, my colleague this morning was saying that even at the district, people are seeing themselves as individual pillars. That is yesterday. We have since changed. I think my colleagues who are here will bear me witness. We are no longer planning as agriculture, planning as roads. We are integrating this planning to ensure that we deliver a whole package to our communities. So what do I have to look at? Overall, we want to see how we contribute to the strategy, because agro-industrialization, in my perception, is what we took as part of the strategy for the NDP3, focusing on promoting rapid industrialization based on increased productivity and production of agriculture. In doing that, we expect that we shall transform raw materials to products. But the first thing is, who produces the raw materials? This person is in the local governments. Two, we are looking at industrialization aimed at transforming subsistence agriculture status into commercial and competitive. What are the incentives to make somebody become a commercial producer? The biggest incentive for you people in this room is one. If PDM works, then expect to go home and you come back with a bunch of matoke free, or a bunch of matoke bought at a price. Not to go home and they tell you, what are you leaving for us? I think this is the practice. You go home for Christmas, you can't buy a bunch of matoke in the village, you can't find what you want, so you carry everything on the car from this side to your village. Then when you reach there, they tell you, nah, you came, but we have not seen you are coming. So we want to find them when they say, you found us here, we are also what? Fine. Sit with us and we share. That is if we work as PDM. So what are the contributions? To start with, if we go with PDM, we shall promote zoning and agro-production, thus bulking production. 2, we expect commodity production specialization. Farmers will be able to get more competencies in market-oriented production. 3, we anticipate that the ability to obtain necessary production data and information from PDCs for industrialization planning. So previously we've been looking at production, but to date we don't have data. How many bags of coffee, how many bags of maize will come from parish X or Y? But with the PDC, we expect this data to be available in each community, that we shall be able to feed information and inform you very fast that if you are planning for exports, we expect this much of coffee. If you are planning for processing, we expect this amount of tomatoes for tomato sauce. So we look at the PDM as assisting, and therefore we shall have a demand-driven agro-industrialization, avoiding creation of white elephant projects. Somebody, my brother was saying that we have CAIP markets. Yes, we created them, but we did not create the commodity to go in the market. And therefore the markets are dry. The markets are there, but there are no commodities on the stalls of the market. But now if we proceed the PDM way, we are now going to create the product to go on those stalls. The step-by-step implementation of PDM has gone this way. We started with stakeholders mobilization and sensitization. Then we have moved to creation of PDCs and strengthening of farmer institutions. And then we had to go in and create enterprise selection. And in enterprise selection, we created farmer groups, which are based on enterprises. And these farmer groups based on enterprises that have joined the parish circles. And once these groups join the parish circles, they then create the leadership and they opened up accounts. By June, we had already reached that number 4. Every parish had a parish circle. Now, what moves on is the strengthening of the circles is now ongoing. Circles have had their first AGMs. So we expect them to start identifying beneficiaries at this point. And therefore, by close of December, the new season, we shall see farmer enterprise groups accessing financing for their projects. That's where we are moving. So, the role in terms of the process. In terms of the process, 1, PDM has helped create choice of enterprise and commodity with the potential commercial production. So if we need to succeed, the agriculture extension must be strengthened to strengthen these choices that we've made. 2, choice of the right practice. Once we choose the enterprises, once we give them extension support, then we shall be able to also take on the right practices and adopt the right technologies and machinery that we need, and therefore securing a product supply in terms of quantity and quality. That's what will be achieved once we roll out successfully. Then we want to adopt an adoption of technology and acquisition of relevant machinery. Now, what makes it different is previously, if farmers were individuals, individual farmers, they had no capacity to say, we want to produce our coffee and process it here. But with the PDM, with their money in the circle, farmers can choose to say, we want a maize, a low technology maize huller, low technology cassava grinder, low technology coffee huller, which they can use manually at their level, so that you don't sell maize and you even sell the chachu. And then you go to buy it when you have a poultry project. Or you don't sell coffee in terms of kiboko, and soon you want the coffee husks for your banana plantation, and then you follow it to the factory. So these are the issues that may be an advantage, because there will be a pool of farmers who can now pool their resources and acquire technology to process their products at the very beginning at the community level. So even the level of industrialization may now start at the household level. Industrialization may start at the household level, so that a product does not live at the household level as a raw material. The other aspect we have in terms of the progress, we have increased. If you now talk about how many farmers do you have, every agriculture extension worker will tell you, I have so many in this parish. Why? Because they already have the data on the enterprise groups and their members, which means there is an address for extension service, which means we are increasing the critical mass of producers in our communities, and we can track them. So we have increased the number of poor farmer households transiting from subsistence to commercially oriented agriculture. We also increased the market of processed goods. Once these farmers have income, then you don't expect to have goods on the market without buyers. So we expect consumption, because even when we say we are industrializing, we should not industrialize for consumption by others. We ourselves should become the market. So there must be internal consumption within this country. The other one is, for our colleagues in institutions, it's time now households are ready for you to come and research at the household. So research at institutions and laboratories should also now extend to the communities through the address, because the PDM is the address, the farmer group is the address, so that now we can capture local knowledge and practices live. With PDC, the other opportunities we have is PDM is facilitating the improvement of management of service delivery. So currently, as a cow, I will be asking the extension worker, which group did you visit? Where did you sign? I can track an extension worker and get the output. Previously, some extension workers have been development tourists. They go, they tell you, I went to this village, I went to this parish, but the address of who they are going to address was not there. And with the PDM, the address is now what? Clear. And as early as in the step-by-step, if I wanted to illustrate the issue of inclusion, while the agriculture extension worker can create an enterprise group, the CDO is supposed to train the enterprise group in leadership and management dynamics of the group. The commercial officer goes ahead to give them business tips, and at the end of the day, we are now having the commercial officer, the CDO, the agriculture extension worker, all targeting on one group, meaning they are getting a service at a go as a group. So the other issue we are having is, currently communities can pool resources through their circles. which previously weren't, each household was having its own. This model has worked, and I have witnessed. When I was in Rwengo, we created these circles, and when we created these circles, we managed to supply through the circles 4,600 solar panels to the households. We managed to supply, I think those were like 60 vehicles from Kamenyamigo of cassava cuttings. But we had an address. We were taking the cuttings to the circle, to the village circle. And before COVID started, Rwengo was exporting cassava to Sudan out of that initiative. So this PDC initiative is going to create strength of pooling resources. They pool resources, and resources will strengthen the household, which is vulnerable, to access investment and also be productive. Further to this, the PDM will enable improvement in bulking farmers' produce. That's the opportunity we have. And for processing and marketing, as well as consolidating farmers' input requirement for collective acquisition. The case I said of Rwengo, we were able to get suppliers of inputs for agriculture who are certified, and they were dealing with the circles. Then the suppliers would deal with the bank and get paid, then the circles get the quantities they want. So in this case of PDM, it's not an issue of saying I'm going to any market to buy inputs. You are going to a collective market, and the suppliers will have to guard the quality of their supply because they want to sell in quantities to the circles under PDM. So I believe that will secure our farmers. Then there is potential for establishment of locally suited and context-specific agro-industries and related services for all our districts. With PDM, we expect to enhance public and national agriculture extension advisory services, delivery system, and we shall be able to establish sources of financing in the circle and with financial accountability.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking at the challenges now. One of the challenges is insecurity. We still have a lot of theft. And I know my colleagues, RDCs are here. We are battling with that. When I raise it as a challenge, we are not saying we have lost it at the lower local government. With security committees, we are doing the best because to ensure that there is security for the property of citizens. Then the other one is the resources, of course, and then skills among our people, then knowledge of applied research, and the last one is the toughest, mindset. Our people have no consistency. And of course, the explanatory notes this side are telling you there's an issue of quick win, kagwirao. So some people will also get the loan from the PDM. The moment they get it, they go to buy other things other than what they had planned to do. So we have that challenge of that mindset problem. We also have the problem of, which is envisaged, of storage. Some of our people we are targeting, even accommodation for themselves is not yet adequate. So storage for their produce will also be a what? A challenge. The other challenge we have is, of course, well-regulated input industry. I think this one we went through yesterday. The research presentations were clear that there are challenges with the inputs. Then the other one that we have is blame game, poor coordination, and rash action. What do I saying? You know, PDM is more popular by what has been said about it than what we have so far done. I think I've made my statement clear. It is more popular. Everybody is jumping on telling people PDM is so good. But before we look at what we have done, and for us to succeed, let's not go by the talk. Let's just walk the talk and do the things we ought to do step by step. And for that matter, I am saying, for PDM, we should not be seeing, to be brave, what counts is not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the what? In the dog. So it's not about how we describe PDM, but it's about what we shall deliver when we implement what? PDM. And for those who are in a hurry with the PDM, please, I'm saying we must be patient. And patience is the ability to wait, but the ability to keep good attitude while you are waiting. Sometimes, some of us who are in the field, we have been harassed because we are not delivering to the expectations. But please be patient with us. You know, we cannot hurry to save people who are not yet prepared to participate in the mission to save them. I want to repeat this. We cannot hurry with changing people, the low-income groups, the poor people, before they themselves get the perception and zeal to say we must change. So we have a challenge of addressing mindset before we move in and put in inputs. We have seen, I have been here, Ugandans. By 1986 onwards, we had the program for Ruero, where tractors were given for every sub-county. And today there is no single spare seen and where that tractor went. I was here when we had the PAP. I was here for UCB agriculture scheme. I saw it. You know the results. I was here with Intandikwa. You know where we went. Now we are here with the PDM. The issue is not to hurry. The issue is to understand what we can get out of it and count our achievements one by one. So how do I conclude? I conclude by saying the future of agro-industrialization lies in the commitment to establish not only the program, but the involvement of many more people, and especially civil society and the private sector. We need the private sector in PDM. We also need the continuous structural capacity building and assessment and reviews. We need to cultivate a positive mindset among extension and advisory service. The other day I had to take my team of extension workers to a village, and I said I want us to be in this household. Why? Why do we supply coffee seedlings when the old coffee bushes are not rehabilitated? Can we help farmers rehabilitate what they have, and we see whether it can be productive before we inject more capital? And therefore, I would say addressing inadequate financing of agriculture extension services delivery should be a priority, and the government, therefore, must ensure that these services points are not down. Have adequate staff, equip them, and vehicles to increase efficiency and effectiveness in providing basic services. Dear friends and colleagues, I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Wana Kunhira. And Kunhira is a core implementer of this program, so he's actually sure of what he was talking about. And we really thank you for that presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, we are behind schedule by about 45 minutes, and yet we have to handle this plenary session for the two presentations in only 30 minutes. So that means our health break will be a bit late, but I think it is prudent that we handle the plenary session so that when we come back after the health break, then we could go for this other remaining presentation. I hope it is okay. The Secretariat will help me to take along the microphone, and we shall begin with the first presentation to be orderly. May I invite the other presenter or representative to also be here? The one on marketing. For purposes of being orderly and helping the Secretariat to capture very well our plenary session, you wanted us to first react to export promotion. And by consensus, and I say we have 2 from here and 2 from here, or those are very few. Bearing time in mind. Can we see your hands on export promotion? I'm beginning with this one. Those who have issues. Okay. Then that means you can have 3. 3 here, 3 here. This will be balanced by the other ones.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Mande Ruanga. I'm a DPO in Mitoma, but today I'm representing my cow. Just one simple issue. There is something that has been repeatedly said from the video we first saw and from also the Export Promotion Board. The need for quality, traceability while exporting. I'm kept on wondering what this quality and traceability is for who? The person in Europe waiting for a product, or even me consuming the product here? For me, I think the concern should also be for us to have quality products here. I see the department or the directorate of certification has focused more on products that are exported, but we also need quality products. And if you look at, I give an example of tomatoes. They are sprayed from when they are planted up to when they go to the market. So now I'm talking about the local market where I buy my tomatoes from. I'm told now they also spray them to keep them fresh for the next, I don't know, 1 week. So that residue, fungicide, is there. But if you go to Commissioner Mwiru's department, those tomatoes will not go to Entebbe. Those ones I sprayed yesterday. But somebody does not worry if they are sprayed today and they are consumed by me, who stays in Uganda. So for me, what I think is that the quality concern should be for us as well as for the products that are exported. I thank you.
Yeah, he has made his point, and you can see traceability really cuts across.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, first of all, I'll just my appreciation for the good presentation. My concerns are just about 2. arising out of the said challenges still outstanding. We talked about the standard, the political will, coordination among MDs. My question is, who is supposed to do the enforcement of all those that you're talking about? You know, since time immemorial, we're talking about coordination among MDAs. Coordination, that has been a talk all through. We've kept on talking about political will. When are we getting the political will? And who is supposed to enforce the political will? We're talking about standards, as the colleague put across. These are issues that have been on. Whenever we come to such conferences, the same things are said. But who is responsible? Who is supposed to do the enforcement? Next time when we come to such a review again, no surprise, we shall hear the same statements being made. Who is supposed to do the enforcement of the said standards, political will, coordination among MPs? Who is supposed to oversee this? So we need to know, where is the weakness? And then, my brother, as you elaborated, the markets are variable. Somewhere while commenting on Sesema, you said there is a very big market for the same that goes to the Middle East from USA. And somewhere you said you are not interested in mentioning something that cannot fetch about 50 millions. And now, is it not a weakness? Because we're talking about promotion. If somebody is producing less, you need to account, why is he producing less? You need to help. How do you help these people come up? If they're producing less, is it the input that is not available? Is it the capital that they want? What assessment have you done to see what causes the low productivity of certain policies that you cannot mention that would have been of greater value to those other markets in the Middle East, as you put it? Finally, there is the issue of disease, pesticide, so on and so forth, that are contributing to the quality of our commodities that go to the market. Yesterday, one of the issues that was raised is the issue of fake agricultural inputs. Who's responsible for these standards? I mean, I belong to local governments. Our farmers keep on telling us the same. Somebody buys these things for spreading, the grass never dries. The ticks never die. But these things come through the borders and they pay tax, the importers pay taxes. When these things come into the country, who is supposed to ensure quality of these items, of these inputs? Because we are saying they're failing us getting a good product to the market. How are we ending that? Anyway, I rest my case. I thank you.
Yeah, we have two more on export promotion.
Thank you very much. My name once again is Ochailap Geoffrey Philbert, the resident district commissioner, Karenga district. I was very much interested in the discussion when somebody, the person who had the first presentation, talked about foot and mouth diseases. That's my interest. For us down there, when we go to monitor, when the drug is brought, the common practice is these poor farmers who are not able to get the drug are taxed 3,000 per cow. Is that a policy, or it is a systematic way of corruption. Thank you.
A lady this time? A lady?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Once again, my name is Caroline Angolere. I am the RDC of Kwale District. I want to thank all of us for this active participation. And for us, we are on ground. We have to bring you issues from the ground. So when we hear you speak to us and giving us a picture that things are okay, things are not okay. If we are talking about production, and we are talking about commercial production, to increase production and productivity, do we provide those tools to the farmers? Because the farmers have the land. The farmers could be lacking capital and other equipment to support production. If we know these problems, what are we doing about it? Because our target is export. What are we going to export if the raw materials are not produced in bulk? The fear of the farmer is storage. I had a colleague, I think from Uganda Warehouse Systems Authority. They talk about storage and all that. When I was in Yumbe as RDC, we had a meeting with them in Arua, and they told us actually they established stores elsewhere in the, I think, western and eastern Uganda. By then I was in the north. The issue of storage is scaring away the farmer. Even when we interact with them, they say, RDC, there is no way we can produce food without assurance of storage. Even in storage, yesterday I heard you people talking about ACDP stores. An ACDP store in Kwale District is not the size of this room, for your information. I have a cooperative, a farmer cooperative that has 18,000 farmers. And when there are 18,000 farmers, the ACDP store that is there is not even half of this room. So those who plan constructions of this infrastructure should mean business if we are talking about promoting export. If you're putting a store at a sub-county level, for example, let's say we have 5 cooperatives in one sub-county, and we have about maybe 20,000 farmers. Are we supporting them with the right storage? If we are to enhance export, what about quality assurance of our product? It is government and the private sector that should support the farmer with that, so that the farmer goes to the farm knowing I'm clearing hectares of land to plant maize. There is a store, there is market. We don't need to do mindset change. We must only assure the farmer of storage and quality assurance and the market. That is what we need to do. We don't need to sit in these boardrooms and sit the whole day to discuss the same things. Last year, same things. This year, we are on the same things. What are we doing? Issues of mindset change. Somebody raised it. There is no mindset change without tools for wealth creation. You cannot go to talk to people like this and walk away for a day or 2 or 1 week and think they are going to change their mindsets. Mindset change comes with tools of wealth creation. If you have come to change the mindset of women who are farmers, for example, you come with a tractor, okay? We open land for them. We say we have opened for you land. We have given a tractor at the sub-county. This is your contribution. As farmers, let us plant this. And when we plant that, we also nurture them. We need to nurture these farmers. We keep saying these people are not willing. These people are willing to work. They are just demoralized like me who went to school. I once planted cassava, 20 acres of cassava. Do you know that in the entire Lira, I failed to get a cassava chopper to chop my cassava into chips, dry and all that. My cassava rot in the garden. If me, who can access some of these things, can get demoralized, what about the rural farmer? And when we talk about private sector, is it inclusive of the rural farmer? Are they also private? Are there strategies inclusive of the rural farmer? It is not good for us to sit here and waste taxpayers' money when we know the problem, and yet we cannot address the problem. We must get serious and read these books properly and also implement properly, so that when we go, we give feedback when we know we have done something. Stop hiding information in these offices. We want to know what is there and what is not there. As young people, you know, I also represent young people. I'm still a youth. Thank you.
Thank you, UC Caroline. Finally, on this topic, finally.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Omito Robertstein, the District Chair, Pakwaj. Mr. Chairman, to enhance export promotion, in my observation, the UNBS seems to be punching much below the belt. They seems to be concentrating so much at the end point production zone in terms of regulating more of manufacturing, and scientifically, challenges of some of these issues accrues right from this local commodity, the local producer of these crops, talking agriculture. And therefore, in my observation, UNBS may need to trickle down up to grassroots at local government level and do a bit of work at that stage. Otherwise, there is no farmer, there is no producer or a manufacturer who has a very special field or garden where he gets all his or her raw material. They have to buy from these ordinary farmers. And therefore, UNBS has to do a lot and take advantage of the decentralization. And then government may also need to invest in lieu to promote export promotion. We need to invest in agricultural technology infrastructure, more especially to control certain things, and we are lacking in that area. The last one, Mr. Chairman, scholars at the various zones and regions seems to be, in my observation, also not doing enough in terms of soil analysis, and then at the end give feedback. We have got staffs, yes, but the capacity either is wanting or they are not doing enough. For instance, in West Nile sub-region, we have got Abizadi. But how much is Abizadi doing in terms of soil testing, sampling, and what, engaging farmers? You know, there are some of losses that our farmers are making. I speak this with a lot of nini because I am one of those suffering. You plant a lot of crops, you open a lot of fields, and at the end the yield is, you know, now you begin to wonder. We are making all these losses. Experts are in place in workshops. When they introduce yourself, you feel you have not really read books. Let's put these books into action. For me, in terms of knowledge, I believe Uganda has very rich knowledge. And in terms of technocrats, but let's get them on the ground to do, and let's allocate resources. I am happy to report also, I have a few experience in this government. I am happy with the Ministry of Agriculture. Even when corruption is eating up some sectors, we have not had so much really in agriculture. And therefore we want to see some impact. I thank you.
Chair, I share the same sentiments with you on soil testing. It is indeed very critical. Now we move to parish model. The questions coming should be on parish model. If it is on parish model, you are the first one, because you missed on export promotion. Please, let it be parish model. Parish model. You know we must move, you know?
Chairperson, this one is missing out.
Kindly allowed. Okay, allowed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. Chairperson of the... once more, I'm Mbekte Fred Magero from the Animal Production Society of Uganda. I was very keen when the Uganda Export Promotion Board was presenting statistics of the exports. And I seem not to have seen anything on livestock. Yet of late, even Kenya has been here. The president of Kenya has been talking about export of our milk to Kenya. Even the documentary this morning was showing meat being exported, and I didn't see this one. So I kept on wondering whether the export of livestock products is informal, that the export board cannot be in position to capture this, because we may be misled that the livestock sector is not exporting anything. Thank you.
Thank you. So strictly we'll move on to parish model questions, observations, and comments. Kabare.
Okay, thank you, Mwabisa Beda, Production Officer Kabale. Thanks for the presentation of Parish Development Model, my boss. In retrospect, one of the things I see that is lacking is the phasing. We have limited resources to run various pillars, though we don't talk about them. We have 7 pillars, and we have different ministries, lead ministries on different pillars, and each of them is producing or has produced operational guidelines, and those guidelines have not been in line with the guidelines of finance. So, if we have to be structured, we have, for example, one can pose a question, which should come first? Pillar number 6, which is about community management information system or data collection. We collect the data, which should be used again for planning. So, which should it come first? But when we were operating, we started with the process the way Michael has developed it. But at the end of the day, we find that there's a problem because we don't have enough resources, which calls for, again, of course, there is connectivity of the pillars, the linkage. We need to do phasing to be able to match within the resources. Just make a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, let us try to be as brief as possible. Officer.
Chair, thank you. My name is Kalisa Judd. I'm here to represent the Commissioner General, and I'm a Commissioner of Prisons. Chair, we are aware that PDM is based on the parishes, and also the members of the armed forces, our barracks and residences are on parishes. However, we have not had a feel of the PDM to our members of the forces. So the presenter of this paper, can he tell us the deliberate actions that they have as cows put in place to enable members of the forces to access the PDM initiatives? I thank you, Chair.
Chair here, and then the lady behind. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Milton Kamoto Wasongi, the chairperson of Ududa District. On the PDM, I'm happy to report that Ududa District was one of those ones that actually fulfilled all the requirements and will not have any query from the Minister of Finance as per the recent communication. And we were reliably informed that by 30th November, the first disbursement of the money to be given to the circles would be done. I wanted to get some clarification whether that one will be fulfilled today, because this is 30th of November 2022, because people are set and want to roll out for this program. Thank you.
The lady behind. People from behind are complaining, and we are remaining with only 2. If there is any other behind, would be given the opportunity.
Good morning to you all. Yeah, Sarah Chimba, RDC of Rakai. My complaint about the parish development model is that you find that the Chida Chonka in some of our districts is much more than other districts. When you see that Rakai is a very, very rural district with a lot of poverty, we are aware that parish development model, the money goes to the parishes themselves. But you'll find that Rakai, a parish will have like 300 Chida Chonka. and each household will get 1 million. So that 30 million that you're giving my one parish in Rakai will not even go to the quota of the Chidachonka of Rakai. So my advice is, as you, the government, I think parish development model should be revised a little bit more so that the rural areas can get at least more money than the urban areas. But even besides that, let me also pass this. Ministry of Agriculture, usually you give us coffee for our rural areas for the people to plant, but the problem is you bring it late when it is off season. So by the time my people get the coffee and they plant it, really there is no rains, and you find that those resources are just wasted. So I kindly ask that next time you're giving us coffee, give it to us in time. Thank you very much for God and my country. Long live our His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
And finally,
may not be finally. I request you don't limit.
I mean it very much.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Okori from Sironko, the production officer. You limited us, but I had some issue of subsidies to the private sector. I mean, Export Promotion Board. You know, when our exporters get some shocks in the process, what is your role to cushion them? You know, and secondly, there are issues of standards vis-a-vis African exports. Then standards when we are importing. There's a lot of raw deal. It seems standardization is more concentrated when Africans are exporting to Europe and these other countries than when we are importing from them. That's why sometimes you see we have some feeds, like I think there was time we got feeds for disaster from China. The rice is like for feeding pigs. So then you question what's happening. Are we more concerned of exporting good things to others, and we are not aware of the good things being imported to us? I think we need to harmonize that. So if we have the Exports Promotion Board, let's also have the Imports Reduction Board, something like that, so that we standardize everything. Then on PDM, I want to give some supplement and challenge. Yeah, when we are doing enterprise selection, that is the beginning point, and that is pillar 1, where MAIF is contributing. We do enterprise selection basing on some ranking models, the well-to-do, the moderate, and the poor. When we do proper ranking, then we select beneficiaries from the poor. Those are the ones we now form enterprise groups with. And they are the same group that form the circles. Which means if you are in the well-off or the moderate, you are not yet going to benefit. And I think Afande is there. I don't think you are going to benefit as forces because literally you are not poor. You are earning a salary. These people, the poor households, are the ones who are given priority to join, to form enterprise groups and enter. These other categories should join MYOGA and these other programs where you get money and then pay back to the banks. That is a supplement which I wanted. So, and the formation of enterprise groups is continuous. As this first group accesses funds, we shall be forming more groups from that poor category, not these other ones. Then the program will continue. So I think Rakai, those poor people should be enrolled on board every year so that they access the PDM funds. What I see as a challenge in the PDM members is pillar 1 should have been given more priority than pillar 3. Because now we are giving that poor household, you can imagine, somebody has never had 1 million. somebody survives on 1,000 or 10,000 in a year is getting 1 million. And then you give that person that money, what will happen? He's going to marry a new wife, he's going to do other things. But what we could do, which we still have the capacity to do, I feel we really need to empower that poor household through OWC and others. If we give them inputs so that they start production, then they will sustainably save and then borrow money to add on value on what they are producing and so on. But now the problem is what we are getting under NADS and OWC is going down. I don't know which district has distributed inputs to farmers this year, but it is going down. To the contrary, it should have gone up so that those poor households are specifically targeted. If you give such a poor household a cow, then they start getting milk. That is kickstarting them to run, and then Pillar 3, the circle money can now help them to buy drugs, buy feeds, and so on. I think that's a challenge which we really need to address. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. He has assisted you answer the question of Mr. Karisa and given you another question. Can we have responses from the presenters in the order we had the questions? We start with export promotion.
Thank you, Chair. All protocol observed. My name is Noreen Kamot, representing the Executive Director of Uganda Export Promotion Board. I also have my colleague, Sam Karuhanga, with me, so we should be able to respond to some of the questions raised, and some will see how we refer them to the Executive Director for guidance. But for information, we have some information. As you get out, there's some market information outside there. Make sure that you pick some leaflet to help us understand better the export journey, as well as the role of Export Promotion Board in supporting the development of exports in this country. The first question came from the RDC, Rengo, but representing the cow of Rengo. Mitoma, sorry. But we totally agree with the issue of quality aspect of traceability, because we believe that for us to grow our exports, the backbone of exports is in domestic trade. If we have that domestic trade handled well, then we should not be having issues of interceptions. So we need to do more of promoting capacities to improve on what we put on the market, because that is what ends also in the foreign market. Then we have challenges. And besides, when you look at our health bill, issues of residue levels, they're really affecting us in terms of cancer. Cases of cancer have increased, and that really affects the health bill. So collectively, working with the key ministry, Minister of Agriculture, we should be able to support and guide production at the local level. So we really agree that there's need for us to build those capacities, and we need to work together. On the aspect of coordination, I think the way government is, and also the agro-industrialization program, we have lead ministries and departments. So it's very clear who is supposed to do the coordination. But why we are having the challenge is we are not yet there, because we appreciate that the key ministries which were supposed to be here and government departments to respond to some of the issues we are raising of concern. For example, standards, very key, and how we developed that together. I'm not sure that the Uganda National Bureau of Standards is in the room, but as Export Promotion Board, as we saw in the presentation of the executive director. We do a lot of coordination, but with specific reference to the export docket. But we all appreciate that production is core. So we need to see how we work together. Still, we all appreciate that it's a problem, but it's a collective effort. In terms of the third was looking at the FMD and the charges. I'll leave that to our Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Rose Lemu should be able to give us our feedback, but I think that could be an information gap, but I don't want to preempt that. The district, my sister Caroline from Kole district, you really brought issues of production and productivity and the information gap. As Export Promotion Board, we've tried. We might not have reached all the districts, but our entry points at the district level or local government have been the district commercial officers, where we have engaged in supporting them personal information on how our enterprise should prepare to export under our export readiness program. So for us who are here, our contacts will be available for us to see how we work with the district commercial officers and the production and marketing to pass on this information. And we know the government has done whatever it is supposed to do to support. But now the onus also lies on us as individuals. How are we able to support our people? How do we reach out to agencies which are responsible before we come to these meetings? Because we believe that these meetings should be able to give us more of challenges which have not been solved, maybe bilateral or finding solutions, so that we see how this can be escalated to the high office, as opposed to us keeping on deliberating on some of the issues like tractors, like finance, the cost of finance, which I think we can be able to resolve or come up with the possible solutions. Because at times we have challenges, but within the challenges, we might have the solutions. So we think that when we come to such a very useful, very important forum, we need to see how do we get out of the problem, how do we solve the problems, because we are all looking at one thing, improving the households of our people. But without trade, either selling a service or a product, we cannot be able to do that. So we believe working together, we can be able to support issues of quality assurance, because we also need to speak to our people local, because on the back at home, local markets, you see how these goods are being handled, traded, and that possibly is our responsibility at local level. How have we empowered these people in terms of information or getting in touch with the relevant institutions for us to resolve issues at the domestic level, because we believe domestic trade is the springboard of export trade or exports. Then there was an issue of UNBS not being on the ground. Since we are all from the same ministry, Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, will pass on that information. We'll see how we deliver this to the Executive Director to link up with his counterpart, the Executive Director of Uganda Bureau of Standards, for us to see how we improve on service delivery in terms of certification of our products. Because we know that quality also affects us, as I had already indicated. We don't have to wait when we're putting the products in the export market. Is when we want our products to be certified. And I know UNBS has endeavored most of the products now being sold in supermarkets have quality marks. It's an effort which we think should continue to ensure that all our products are certified. I know UNBS has an MSM desk which is looking at the small enterprises, supporting them to acquire certification. And my colleague, the other one is about Animal Production Society of Uganda. Raise an issue of exports of dairy and dairy products and livestock. I think we can be able to, if we did not capture it, we know we are exporting that, especially live animals to DRC formally. That statistics has been covered. If we didn't have it, we can always share that information at a later stage. Then subsidies. There was an issue of subsidies. In the ED's presentation, he was talking of export finance. And we think that if we have this in place, export credit guarantee scheme, most countries have that to support in cushioning, the exporters. But we are yet to develop that. Then is a question which came in regarding the quality, and us emphasizing more of the export quality as opposed to the local, as opposed to the products which are sold here domestically. I think there's an effort to do that, especially in agro-processing, but also the aspect of extension workers. Because we all have appreciated that production is core, or quality starts from the garden, and it starts from inputs. I think that is an issue which has been echoed. We believe that the relevant ministry, given that, but it's also a challenge, and I really appreciated the representative from the American Embassy, that we are having these targets, but our budgets are being cut. So how do we then realign that to fit within our performance indicators? But we are saying that since we need to do now prioritization with a little, or with what we have from this conference, we should be able to now have prioritization. If we are saying our focus is now quality, beginning from the domestic market to then production, then we should be able to have resources allocated to the extension services, because we all appreciated that the ratio is really too small to make an impact, and we appreciate production or quality starts from inputs and starts from the garden. With that, if there's anything I've missed out, I'll invite my colleague to supplement some. Thank you so much for your attention, and may God bless you.
I think that is okay. Only that you had requested Dr. Rose Okrut to chip in something. I don't know whether she's ready for that. Yes. Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Dr. Anna Rose Ademun Okurut, Commissioner in charge of Animal Health and also Director, Animal Resources. The question is directly, are we supposed to charge the farmers for vaccines? Vaccines are provided by the Permanent Secretary here, free of charge, and they are not supposed to be charged for. So not 1 shilling is supposed to be charged for vaccines. The PS is expected to send off vaccines together with an allocation of some funding to support vaccination. In this particular distribution that we had, the vaccines came earlier than the funding was available. But there was a requirement for the vaccine by the people. So we had to provide vaccines before provision of the funding to support the vaccination program. So nobody is expected to charge. If the government, because we are all government, if the PS has not provided funding, the CAO should provide other fundings which are available, maybe like the extension grant and so on, to enable the veterinarians to apply vaccine onto the animals. If we do not provide the technical people with funding and support for them to be able to put fuel on their motorbikes, and also to be able to take a glass of water, a bottle of water or soda and some food, then there is a temptation of these people to charge people, which is wrong. And we do not allow that, because at one time it was the ministry communicated that they could charge, but this was highly abused. You'd find people charging from the expected 500 shillings, somewhere even charging people 15,000 shillings. So it's wrong and not accepted, and it should be prevented as much as possible. I think that's how what I can communicate. But thank you very much for these complaints, and let's continue sharing them so that we serve the farmer well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And clearance, no charges. Now, can we hear from Kao Kunihila Akip?
Thank you, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing I want to allude to, for those of us in this room, if you are a ministry staff, if you are an RDC, if you are a chairman, you are a cow. Why do you start saying government should? Who are you? You are the government. If really we hold appointments in the government on behalf of the president of Uganda, you know, things changed one of these days. When we started the service, the commission will tell you, we are pleased to inform you, on behalf of the president of Uganda, you have been appointed. Now, when you went to District Service Commission, no matter what, those statements changed. You are the government. So when we are in this room, we are talking as government. And when the civil society listen to us, they start saying, now, look, if the cow himself cannot know his government and doesn't know the programs in the government, then who will help this country? I'm transitioning to senior citizens very soon, but I believe I want that taken. We are the government. And if we are the government, then we should understand what government programs are. I earlier told you I've been here when I've seen interventions for poverty eradication, poverty alleviation, poverty reduction, very many. This specific one called PDM is for the percentage below the poverty what? Line. Is for the people who do not have any formal employment. You may be in formal employment and earning low. It doesn't mean you are below the what? So our target, and for those who are doing PDM, please know it. Don't target people who have. This program is for the have not. For the have, it means you have an enterprise. And if you have an enterprise, go to Myoga. A Myoga is enterprise-based. But what we want to run PDM on the principle of an enterprise, a product. And I believe anyway, I will still be around, even if I'm not in the office. The issue is, we have been made to think a circle The commodity for a SACCO is money. Money is not a commodity. Money is a means of what? Of exchange. Now, let's start the parish SACCOs on a model of a commodity. What do they produce to sell, then earn? That's where we are. And those SACCOs will take us back to the old cooperatives, where a cooperative society had a product to sell. Livestock was livestock, like he's saying he's in the aqua. Fish is the what? Is the commodity or the product. Then money is what they earn after selling there. But many of our circles, some of us even as civil servants, we start employees circle. What do you sell? Savings and credit. Ours is supposed to be investment clubs. So that the little money we earn, we put it in that savings group, then we invest in something that we can sell. I am a member of the local government staff circle. We are just graduating from this circle business of savings and lending. You lend people, they don't pay back. Invest in what will produce exports. That's what we need. So going back to the questions, I'm sorry I started from there. My apologies to those I may have had. The issue is the pillar of the pillars in the parish development model. What should come first? For us who are development practitioners, we should have known that we are running with two things. We should be able to balance development work and political work. If you can't, resign. A politician will say what will market him. So for you who is a professional and with the ethics, ensure that you put in place the right implementation strategy so that you get the right results. Finally, you will have complemented the what? The politician. This is what we are suffering with. My chairman is saying, when is the money coming? But he's not telling you when is the first crop being planted under the enterprise, so that when I see the money coming, it is being invested in that what? Crop. And he's right, because for him, he wants to see the people say, we received what? Money. But for me as a technical person, I'm pushing my technical team to ensure that if people talk about an enterprise, they really have that enterprise in place. Then the other issue that comes up is PDM is based on parishes, true. And our institutions are in parishes. My brother Kalisa, what we have to do, for me, I live a stone throw with the prisons team. The only thing is, as I earlier said, there are people working very hard, but not in what? In business. We need to grow entrepreneurship among our prison staff and their spouses. We did that for the army when I was in Mubende. Go and see what they call Kawadisa. Children and women of disabled soldiers. They have a market they run. They run seedling beds and they sell to NADS. That's how the force can be. And I believe these institutions can grow into a bigger force and be productive to contribute to this industrialization, but not through PDM, through other interventions. Madam Maradisi, you said storage in Kole. It's unfortunate the Minister of Local Government did not present. We are a government, as we say, the coordination. There is an agro-led program under Minister of Local Government, which is constructing storage facilities. Kumi, I was there the other time. You have those facilities. Katakwi has the facilities. The whole of Eastern. But how are they coordinated with the PDM? So that when we are producing to use those facilities. Then how are they coordinated with this pillar on agro what? Industrialization? The other one is agro-led, growing local economic development. But local economic development should grow into product value added arrangements, which should now link into this program. So we need that coordination. The other one is coffee seedlings, supplied late, coffee seedlings supplied. Yes, I think it is government reviewing. The issue is demand-led. Is it the politician saying, or I am the MP, I want to distribute seedlings? Or is it under the enterprise group, the community are saying, for our input to work well, even after giving me 1 million, I need the seedlings and my garden is what? Is ready. This is where we need to go. I had a problem as a cow in Luwero. When I reached, they told me, we are going to supply you 8 million seedlings of coffee with our friends from Coffee Development. I told them I'm not receiving them. Somebody said, you are anti-government. I said, I am government. Why? I had 660 villages. If you divide 660 villages by 8 million seedlings, how many seedlings we are going to each village? Yet some of these villages are in the towns. Some of these villages have forest reserves. So how many acres did my people have to plant coffee? Why do we make money for suppliers? And we're supposed to give over 10,000 per village. And that meant 10,000 divided by 400. Those were how many acres? Are those acres there in the village? So the whole issue is we must raise a demand-driven. Start now for the next season to target what seedlings government should give. You know, what hurts me and you, we are in this room. We are the taxpayers. These seedlings, they take and they get dry on the veranda. Is the pay as you earn they remove from your salary? Is the money you pay when you buy sugar in the supermarket? And that peasant does not buy the sugar you buy. So we are the taxpayers. And being taxpayers, we should be serious about our money being spent. Come again. The last one I have, Mr. Chairman, is a question he gave me on enterprise selection, which pillar versus pillar 1 versus pillar 3. I think this is why we are doing these reviews, to inform government. And by the way, when DPO, you make that write-up, give it to your cow to submit to the PS here. Make that write-up, send it, give it to the cow to submit to the PDM Secretariat. Sometimes we who are on the ground are not informing the center. And we keep grumbling down there. I tell my staff usually, we were employed by a pen. Let's communicate with a pen. Put your pen on paper and inform government, advise government. You are not too small to advise government. But advising it by talking without writing, you have a problem. Somebody was telling me, you know, we have instructions here and there. At the district, each district create a secretariat for PDM so that you can analyze instructions from agriculture, instructions from trade, instructions from finance, instructions from local government, then implement. I did not get problems with implementing because some of them I ignored and I had to give them feedback why I ignored. And at the end of the day, whoever took everything, some of them are not happy with what happened. We should sieve out information because we are also part of government and help government to improve. So PDM, to emphasize, is for those who have not been productive. As I said earlier, for those who disturb you whenever you go back to the village and tell you, how did you come? How are you leaving us? If they can earn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wanakao, for teaching us to learn to use a pen. And I want to thank our presenters for having ably and adequately responded to your questions. And I hope they have given you sufficient clarification. And as I wind up with this session, Mr. PS, I hope you must have noted that since yesterday, even through to these presentations, the issue of information flow, coordination between ministries and departments and the local levels, extension workers are coming up time and again, which means we would be very happy and would blow our trumpets if we found an improvement come next year in these very areas. Just to find coordination has improved, information flow is okay, and extension workers also, there is some improvement. I think we shall have gone a long way into improving production and productivity. And I also want to thank you for having been very attentive at the audience, very participatory, and I think for those who are not able to contribute, you will forgive me, but still we had to move because we had timelines. But I thank you so much, the presenters and the participants. I rest my case.
Thank you so much, Session.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for 1 whole year. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
changa okuwana ngana kukukumba oh baby kati balira kunse ensine webange funze ngabuli omwakusanye olibera yonze mukona ya oh baby kati balira kunze ensine webange funze ngabuli omwakusanye olibera yonze mukona yo can't tell me like look Sicha kuvamu yenza kusubiza you can't count on me like look count on me like look count on Sicha kuvamu yenza kusubiza you can't count on me like look kwechirone kumacha mubyo mulungi ne mubi entalo zoli nandi wonzize kumekana abana bakubaka sana yoyo namba wakanya tebamanyi kumekana why don't you see baby that you all I need mukwana